Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's still Saturday, and it's still the SPL. I'm still Tom Battinger, but this time I'm joined by none other than TM what? Brandon.
Jesus.
Oh, is your headset too loud again?
Did you guys do that on purpose?
I have no idea what you're talking about. Europe is done in the books for today on Saturday. Cognitive versus TSM. It's the first matchup we're going to have.
So, former first seed and definite top contender, even for Worlds, I would say at this point. TSM should have little work to do here against the lower seeded, I think 7th seeded Cognitive Gaming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cognitive Gaming looking very, very, well, they're more of a rebuilding process than Team SoloMid. Team SoloMid looking towards the finish line, Cognitive trying to figure out how to get ready for the next time around.
Well, we're going to take a look at the standings here, see how things are shaping up here in North America. You can see Cloud9 leading the pack quite cleanly at 9-1. AFK 8-2, and TSM looking to extend it to 7-3.
Yeah, don't forget, we do have 2 game sets here, so that 7 can quickly turn into a 9-3 this time around. AFK, I believe, have yet to play this week. They'll be playing Denial, actually, right after this match.
Yeah, not tomorrow. He actually wasn't going to say tomorrow. He was like, right, Tom? Like, in his head, but then he forgot that that was his name.
I meant tonight, actually.
Oh.
That actually, I could have played that off, but you've actually stopped it. I can't play it off any longer. But so we've got TSM versus Cognitive Gaming coming up for you right now. It's going to be a very, very high-intensity match, I think is the word to use.
It could be. It could be. It's going to depend on the beginning of this game. If Bickham shows up strongly.
Sure.
Again, I'm going to put all my chips on the table saying that Bickham is the make or break here. Herwind most likely going to do his normal thing. Not really a player I'm looking to carry the game.
Right.
Bickham getting into the game early and setting the pace is the big deal. But there are very few people in the world that can go into a game thinking, I'm just going to get ahead of Gars.
It's the mentality, though. You're 100% right. That's going to really dictate how fast this team can go and how hard these guys go. On the TSM side, though, Brandon, I think we're going to see a lot out of what we expect the individual play to really come to the forefront.
This is the strongest team, in my opinion, in individual play. Their mechanics are absolutely, bar none, the best, with the small exceptions of, I think, Divios' mechanics are not quite as good as Cyclone's, but his presence is a little bit stronger. And then Gars mechanically is about equal to Andy. You can't say that he's better because Andy's a monster. But I mean, it's been interesting to see Gars has not really had the Thor season that we would have expected, especially after what he did in Season 1. It was unstoppable.
Yeah, it's a little bit rough right there. But we'll take a look right now without further ado. Picks and bans, ladies and gentlemen, for Team SoloMid versus Cognitive Gaming.
You mean P's and B's?
Oh, yeah. Is that what they're called?
P's and B's.
I don't really like peas.
What?
I mean, they have to be prepared the right way. Do you like raw peas?
Not like raw, but some fresh English peas, a little bit of butter, salt, pepper, perfect.
You're leaving out the garlic.
I mean, it depends.
I'm an Italian from New York. You have to cook with garlic. That's how you do it. First man on the board, Athena.
I thought there was an R in garlic. I guess I'm wrong.
Garlic.
Athena gets taken away. Option here to TSM on the top side. Wow, okay. Going to start off with Isis.
Isis banned out by TSM against Cog. So, I mean, Herwind, Isis has definitely solidified herself as a mid god. I guess in this weird invadeless solo lane that we're seeing these days, Meerkat could bring it out, but it's definitely targeted for the mid lane right here. I don't know if it's against Herwind or just the character in general, but Neith going to be banned out alongside Sylvanas.
So the last time these two teams faced off, it was a very interesting dynamic of Divios taking Bellona to the solo lane back when she was still considered very strong.
Right.
And their former solo laner, Mr. Mackey, actually was on this team. Or maybe, no, I guess that was enemy.
I, too, confused Cognitive earlier, so it happens.
That was Mackey. I don't think Meerkat has been subbed out. So, nope, never mind. I was going to say maybe they could pick on that Divios again, but nope. No, I very much doubt it.
Team Global Mid on the top of your screen. Apollo and Janus picked out. With Athena banned, we'll see where else they'll go. Geb on the bottom side, and they're going to round it out with Bellona.
Okay, very strong. And
Xbalanque.
This is the Thor pick to me, right? Keep that global presence going. Not to mention Gars has the best Thor possible. Again, keeping a massive map presence here. And with Snoopy on Apollo, which is something I love, this is probably the best pick of the 3, considering the fact that Snoopy's 1v1 ability is usually pretty much even with whom he might fight, but his team fight presence and his global presence and situational awareness is probably the highest of the hunters in North America. So giving him this global presence is going to be massive.
Team SoloMid really focusing on that mid lane. Not Herwind, but Isis and Poseidon, obviously mid lane picks. Neath, a flex pick, but with the other two bans, we can infer or venture a guess that Neath will also be banned out with respect to the middle lane. Ares banned out by Cognitive Gaming. They don't want to see that aggressive support on the side of TSM's Guardian Ionic. So on the side of Cognitive Gaming, it should see it'll be very interesting to see what we see out of Herwind. Can we see the Kukulkan?
It's possible. I mean, that was his
That's
namesake.
his god.
That's where pretty much where he got his name, right? Back in the old Ao Kuang days. Now, of course, Kukulkan. It's possible. And with this comp, probably not a bad idea. Geb with multiple forms of CC to keep it locked down. Awilix going to be picked up. Okay.
Which Feather Step, and there it is, folks. So Feather Step, again, roots the target for a small fraction of a second, which, if Herwind is quick enough, is just all you need for that Eternal Dragon.
Not to mention the Eternal Dragon, or now the Spirit of the Nine Winds, I think is what it is.
That sounds like a Disney song.
It is, actually. It's from Pocahontas. Nobody
No,
go to
it's
Google.
not.
Just trust me.
No, it's not.
Kukulkan's ultimate will actually force knockback, which Awilix can combo back off of as well.
Very true. Gravity Surge.
Top side here, final pick more than likely going to be for the solo. Looking at the board, he's probably looking to counter either the Awilix or Bellona. Hard to pick against both of them. Mainly Awilix, a very strange presence in the solo lane. Cyclone Spin has built.
Sobek.
But we're going to see Sobek. So maybe Ymir in the solo. We know that Ionic really likes Sobek. Sobek, the safer choice, of course, for solo, but the flex is there.
Yeah, for sure. I'm with you on that. That Ionic really enjoys the Sobek and the Ymir. You know, I saw the Ares banned out by Cog. I associate Ionic on the other side of the Guardians, the Jeff Hindla types, rather than the Trix Tank types, the Gebs, the Sylvanas, the type to really help out your team. I mean, Sylvanas is banned. We heard him last time. Don't give him the tree. He's going to win. Right. So Sobek really fits the mentality of Ionic a little bit more, but does this Team SoloMid comp want the Ymir setups from the Guardian role more, Brandon?
Hard to say. We're jumping into the game, though. We're going to find out. No more speculation.
There it is, Ionic.
Ionic is going to be taking Ymir. Divios will find himself on Sobek. So to start the game off here, Divios, it looks like, went out, played some wards, and then ran back immediately to pick up as many pots as possible. You're going to see a 5-2 split here. Of course, going to be able to utilize that blue buff, and then has his ultimate for mana reduction, or mana regaining as well. Otherwise, nothing really strange here. Awilix will be your jungler. Mids, both mages. So this is a pretty standard start from everyone.
Team SoloMid getting the huddle together, launching off some fireworks. Really don't want to venture into the jungle anywhere, so staying safe under that tower. If you're not going to invade, staying safe until you absolutely have to split is really what we've been seeing, whether it's grouping up as 5, hoping for a pick, or some silliness under a tower. That's what we've been seeing, and Cognitive Game is going to go for the triple kill. Nope, they're going to go for the 2-camp clear. We've seen that triple clear come out a lot. What's the difference between what allows you to do the triple clear?
It's usually very quick clear, which this team isn't going to have. And while Geb Shockwave does a decent amount of damage, you're looking at Xbalanque for really being lower damage early stage of the game. You should also remember that the blue side of the map is going to have 5 to 7 extra steps, or a few about 3 seconds more overall to get to the to the lane from the mid lane, or from the red buff. So,
right.
God, so many mess ups there. It's always very confusing to me to see them try to do the triple camp start from the bottom side, because you will miss experience. It is a guarantee no matter what you have. Luckily
for this team, we go ahead and see a double clear. So no real gambling on the side of the triple clears for either of the teams.
So this is the important thing. Bickham's early rotation. If he can set something up off of this, it's possible they could take the lead early enough to make something happen in the mid game. This, for me, is almost the entire make and break for Cog. Can they find it? Knockup is good. Featherstep does a lot of damage, but no! Herwind was not ready to place down the tornadoes, and the Featherstep wasn't even utilized. He would have flipped into the tower, right. So Boosh stays alive.
Only level 3, so not able to make use of the knockup either is Bickham, but a good start. We're seeing that's a good look for me right there. That's one of the harder abilities, that ranged knockup from Awilix. That's one of the harder abilities to go ahead and nail. So it's a good look right now, Brandon. As we see Bickham sort of level up, I think we'll see some good mechanics.
Left side here, you're going to check out Ymir actually pushing back Geb really fast. Of course, this has to do with the fact that Xbalanque's clear is some of the weakest in the game comparatively to Apollo, who's maybe so beautiful it doesn't do a lot of damage, but has one of the hardest hitting auto attacks in the game. At this level, with this build, you're looking at about 60 damage on creeps, which is very powerful.
Back cams cleared at their appropriate time. Not the triple clear that we were talking earlier for Cognitive Gaming, as both members make their way into mid lane. And they'll lose 0 creeps right here, able to pick it up before they come into the tower. That's just good. Attention to the timer right there from the jungler in the mid lane.
Speaking of jungler and mid lane, it's going to be up to them on the bottom side to take that right camp on cooldown. Otherwise, the small experience gain they would have actually brought for themselves is going to be wasted. They must utilize the timers here. The issue is that's going to be coming up about the same time as mid camps, to the point where if they decide to fight and have an extended engagement, they're going to lose that. But we do have a timeout coming out here from, it looks like Team SoloMid. Should only last about a minute.
Yeah, so this is, we've got about 30 seconds, 36 to be precise, till the first mid-cam spawn. Taking a look at these compositions, Brandon, you've got the Awilix, who is a weird character, hard to really call her early, mid, late game. Obviously, later than early game, she needs that gravity surge to super be effective. Who really has the advantage around these mid-camps fights, or are both of these teams just going to relinquish it?
It's going to come down to which support hits 5 first. It's going to be Cataclysm versus Shards of Ice, but if they don't hit 5 beforehand, it belongs to, and Ionic just did, it would have belonged to Ymir, having the better form of CC for the engagement. Meerkat getting very low here. He's going to be forced to ult here. Divio should be canceling a little bit sooner to not bait out the Eagles rally. No, misses it. In fact, they both miss it.
Damage is going to come out, and with the protections, it doesn't matter. Bellona's out of the circle right now. Eagles rally is going to fall. Gar's got the initial stun, but here comes the Awilix. Bickham looking for damage as well. Gar's no longer able to basic attack. The heal from the Scourge is good. Gravity Surge will pull. Wow. Bickham gets first blood, but Boosh rotates, answers incredibly. Here comes Janus, and Whirlwind hits the ult.
And look at the body block there. Bickham taking the double kill. This is what we needed. The early rotations to catch them out. Divio's got a little bit too aggressive there, looking for the charge prey on the Bellona when he didn't need to. Just moving forward for the Sickening Strike probably would have been enough, but he gets baited, and a good dodge by Meerkat put him in a position to bait for longer. Not to mention that disarm not only stopped him from dying, but gave him enough, or rather gave Bickham enough time to solo down the Sobek. And somehow, and this doesn't even make sense, Kukulkan out-rotated Janus. That's
Kukulkan.
Not even English.
Yeah, and it was right in that corridor. The entrance to the soul lane. That's why we were able to see so much damage. So what an incredible ultimate coming out from Whirlwind. All the while, great play by Cog. It's going to put them ahead. But the reason they're not as ahead as you would think, despite getting first blood, Ionic quietly rotated to the right-hand camp, picked it up, and then back to safety before the rotation could come back after the fight that happened in the solo lane. So Ionic, the mind always present on the objectives.
So right now it looks like there is a DC. They're trying to get the pause off here, but Famous Hate not recognizing that taking damage keeps you in combat.
Able to keep his farm up a little bit. Homie Effie, DC, then Famous Hate gonna go ahead and keep doing it.
Wow, this is actually devastating to watch.
Yeah, this is problematic. You can see Bickham and Whirlwind stopping doing what they're doing to start the pause. Ladies and gentlemen, you can't combat pause. So the way this works is you can't pause the game if combat is going on, which means damage being dealt, damage being taken. We see the members of Cognitive Gaming doing nothing. They're intentionally standing still, not farming, to go ahead and get that pause out. All the while, we saw Xbalanque, Famous Hate, continue attacking, and at this point, Homie Effie is already back in the game.
Well, at least he's back quickly, because for the amount of time that they just wasted there, hopefully Homie FA would have been looking for early rotations anyway. It's very possible that, nope, they took the purple. Nope, it was a completely hindered DC right there. And for me, it looks like TSM even... what is this now?
Good freeze coming out from Ionic. A little bit of damage, and there's Janus burst from very, very far away. All alone is Homie Effie. The Boosh.
That didn't hit anybody.
The Boosh gets credit for that. Whirlwind not able to get what he wanted out of the ultimate. Stun down is Whirlwind.
I'm heartbroken. I mean, that DC probably would have probably cost them the game. If they snowball off of this...
It's early to call the game, but it definitely has a huge impact at the present point of this game.
See, normally I would agree with you. Normally I would be like, yeah, it's way too early, but... This is TSM versus Cog. Cog is the early game team, and TSM just got 2 kills and jungle control off of that while stealing the purple away. And then Homie Efe getting sent back to the base again. Like, he can't afford this. This is devastating to watch, man. That really hurt. All comes down to that one auto attack that he threw, or the fact that he was standing there tanking on the left side. Famous hate with a big drop there. They need to find a way back into it, and it's going to come down to really big picks. And for that, we look away from Bickham, and now we're looking straight to Herwind. And I can't believe he didn't hit anyone with that. It was the best ult.
Exactly, and I wanna highlight the fact, and I'm not trying to be Mr. Rogers or overly positive here. That was where you shoot that ult.
It was a great ult.
Just so happens that TSM found, it was like, I don't know if you watched game 1, but when Lobster found the 2% of the Odin ultimate that wasn't covered by Vulcan ult, that's what that was. The TSM members just eked their way to the right.
We call that the Zeus hole.
Yep,
the Zeus hole. You find the hole, you die.
Blink in from Ionic, gets a freeze. That's going to take Cognitive Gaming off of the objective just enough to push the blue team away. Ionic and Boosh getting very aggressive. Boosh, he will slow down Homie Efe. Knocked up out of the roll and flipped back. That's a Geb all alone. Thor comes down just for flavor. Boosh gets kill.
Divios with the best tail whip there. That was a max range tail whip. Less than a half a second before the CC immunity was going to kick in, knocks him out of the rollout, and as soon as he hits the ground, he's ready with the charge spray to follow up. Now, they're not going to get too much off of this in terms of like rushing for the Gold Fury, but they just shut down the Geb again. That's another death. That means more time that he's not able to utilize these Traveler shoes, and with that, he's now 500 gold down from Ionic, who is one of the players you really don't ever want to be ahead of you.
Yeah, Ionic is a very efficient support player, able to find gold in all the nooks and crannies of the map, whether it's sharing jungle camps or just showing up at the right time for the wave. Always, and we mentioned it earlier in that first part of aggression in the solo lane, always trying to find the gold in the objectives.
So we're 8 minutes in here. Cognitive Gaming down 2 kills after a rather glorious start with a first blood double for Bickham, only dropping 1 in the engagement. Divios taking a lot of damage over there. Homie Efe trying to fight his way in. This might be misguided.
It's level 7. Don't forget that DC. He's going to fall, get hit by the unstable vortex coming out from Boosh as well. Quickly shields himself, and that'll just barely save his life. But I see 3 members in red heading to the left-hand side of the map, Brandon.
Yeah, this is looking real good for them right now. Boo should take about 4 hits here before relinquishing. No, only going to take 2. Giving it back a little bit early. Herwind going to rotate over, and I love the early shards of ice there. That does 2 things for them. 1, massive damage to get it killed as fast as possible, and 2, meaning if it's already down, doesn't have to get hit by the ult coming out. Kukulkan's ult's already gone. Now TSM can rush into this safely. They pick up Bickham, they got the Gold Fury, and just little stars dwindling into the sunset as Cognitive Gaming's chances just dwindle.
They've separated Cognitive Gaming away from each other, forced Meerkat into an ult. It is good. It does stun 3, but Snoopy gets 1. Snoopy gets 2. Homie Efe gets a trade. That's good for Karma, but Snoopy gets 3. Still pushing the gas pedal is Team SoloMid. They've got their eyes on to Famous Hate. Snoopy not going to be too greedy. Always the realistic-minded player is Snoopy. He's going to go ahead and just kill the minions and wait. But there's Divios setting up. There was a reason Snoopy was sitting on the porch, Brandon. He knew his friend was coming around the corner.
With that, the creep's not really close enough to get the tower right away. They could stick around here, but Bickham makes his rotation. He's going to stare down too.
Snoopy pushing out just a basic. He's level 12 to Bickham's level 10. Divios as well, level 13 or level 11. So a level advantage on the side of Team SoloMid. Not able to quite go ahead and grab it is Bickham. Just the sheer presence of Divios and Snoopy was enough to push him out.
Oh man, such a heartbreaking start, and it's only getting worse here. TSM so smart about their rotations. They're picking them off in the right spots. They know where they should fight. And again, I go back to Ionic's use of shards of ice there. Using it so early is showing you the difference in skill. Because by the time Herwind rotated over, it was already dead.
Right. The ultimate again. This time not the perfect ultimate. Just a little bit too late. Ionic using the shards of ice to damage.
Hail Mary. It's a Hail Mary.
Yeah, exactly. You always throw that out. It's like a Sylvanas pull. You go for it because you
have to.
Cliche. 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah.
But it rings true in this one. You can't hit what you don't throw. So the Hail Mary coming out from Herwind, not quite able to get there in time due to the damage of Ionic's Ymir. And that's really why we see, that's where Ymir comes. Early objective mentality for that damage.
So Bickham trying to find some damage here. Early feather step. Actually does get the hit there, but
nice jump.
Just barely over that tectonic rift.
understanding just how long that ability is. Very cool stuff from Bickham. Stuck here. Meerkat has been... He's a little low this time, Brandon, but this matchup has... It's funny, we don't see any kills on the side of Meerkat. 0-2 and 3 is a slash line, but every time we look over there, with the exception of that one, he seems to be winning the fight.
Well, I mean, he should at this stage, right? He has extra damage. His sustainability is close to equal, and Sobek doesn't really have a way to cancel, or rather, do his enough damage through cancels to really warrant him trying to box.
Sure.
With that, though, you do see the Breastplate of Valor coming out, going to make it a lot harder for her. And he's facing down 2 people right now, including an Awilix, and he should be careful here because I think there's not enough respect for Featherstep in the current meta. Does so much damage.
It's a lot of damage, and it's also a root. That root, it's 0.3 or 0.4 seconds, but we've seen Cubo Fred use it, and that means it's usable. So it's definitely a cool ability. It takes time to not only get you on board, but also your teammates.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
Right side, we're going to get a wave into the tower here. As looks like Bellona backed. She won't lose too much if there's a Guardian. She'll probably lose 1, maybe 2 creeps total. Should be able to get the brunt of the experience there. But Divios already on the rotation, going to go up and grab that blue buff. This will be the 3rd take of this, which is pretty impressive at the timer. Actually, no, I'm sorry. That was only the 2nd take?
Yeah, only the 2nd one.
Oh, wow. So he's a little bit behind there, but still... the level advantage is same, and strangely, and this is crazy to me, Bellona actually equal in gold despite
left side,
being down.
A little bit of problem. Stunned out is Famous Hate, but able to get out. Still poked out for 40% HP.
Okay, Gar's taken to the sky here. He's going to find it. No, just barely off the mark. Even so...
He was on the mark. It was a shield.
Homie F.A. Would have been able to take him out either way. Yannick, wow, look at that. Not only recognizes the fact that the Cataclysm was ready, but he baits out the shot from Herwin, dodges and walls off the attempt. Homie F.A. going to try to move up against one here, and I don't know if he'll have enough defense, and he chooses the better of it. First tower going to be taken here. It's going to go to TSM.
Paulo able to really get through that tower. No problem with Audacity. Very early on in the build, just some power on the side of him. No real penetration or attack speed going on just yet for the young Apollo. Oh, scratch that. I'm looking at Xbalanque. He's got the Ichabal on early.
Ooh, Bickham jumping away there. Shotgun over the wall. Bickham taking a lot of damage, down to sub 300. Going to be forced away. And then we look at the bottom side here. Let's take a look at the Hunters.
That's what I was talking about. Ichabal before the boots coming out from Snoopy.
He wanted the damage, and he has more than enough to really put it out. So he's not only gaining extra attack speed here to the tune of, I think, 15%, but he's also gaining another 15% on top of that with the Balance Blade.
Now, does that have anything to do with the level difference? You take a look, it's 15 to what's been 12 to 13. It's about 2.5 levels between these two. Snoopy wants to fight. Ichabal is the fighting item.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just sort of opportunistic. Well, I'm ahead. I'm going to force him to fight me. With Ichabal, he's going to be even more scared to fight me. So it's very cool to see the mentality of a build change based on a lead or lack thereof. I love to see that adjustment coming out from top-tier players.
He has a huge lead here.
Oh, yeah. 2.5 levels is a little much.
Looks at this. Snoopy's going right for it. Dev's Glove's more than enough to tank this one up. Homie F.A. going to try to find a way in here. He does have Blink, but wow, okay.
Too fast. Eonic with the carpet.
I thought there would be some kind of contention there. I thought they were oh, Homie F.A. Blinked. Close.
I like the response right there. Just quick enough. Quick enough.
While all that is happening, Divios finds not only the tower, but complete control here. Second Gold Fury also goes to them. Team SoloMid's overall lead going to extend post 5,000 right now.
TSM just getting very aggressive, invading the backhand Harpies with Cognitive Gaming present. They will relinquish it, but just enough because they see Meerkat popping in for some fun. 4 people surrounding him. Eagles Rally will go down. Herwin's ult again, just barely off the mark. 2 people stunned out by Xbalanque. Thor's going to miss. Berserker's barrage not quite there. Cataclysm catches 2.
I feel like Meerkat has some kind of plot armor right now for how much he just was able to escape from, but unfortunately the rest of the team gets baited into his assistance.
Ooh,
and with
Herwin.
that, they're going to lose at least 3 here as
Herwin got surrounded. Bickham showed up a little bit too late. Too little, too late. Famous Hate intelligently sitting beneath the tier 2.
Fire Giant.
Yeah, tier 1 tower and then Fire Giant is going to be the plan for Team SoloMid 15 minutes in.
I love that Boosh stuck around to the mid lane because he's shutting down any form of offense.
Right.
With how much health Famous Hate, or rather mana Famous Hate has, he can't afford to keep the tower up and pressure it. So Boosh pushes another wave, keeps an eye on the only person remaining, and at 16 minutes here, we're going to get the first Fire Giant of the game. TSM looking real strong right now.
Real strong indeed, Brandon. They're leading by 9 kills and a fire giant and almost 8,000 gold.
Almost, yeah, we're at like
at the 16-minute mark.
7,500 at this stage. I mean, that is not okay for this level.
And it's relative. Like, gold leads mean so much different, so much more or less, depending on the time on the clock.
Right.
16 minutes in, this 7.5, 8,000 gold lead plus fire giant is a lot more than if it was 10 more minutes in.
I'm sorry, does Sobek have top damage in this game? Divios showing up big.
By 1,000 over his jungler.
Over Thorgars. Like, that's not even realistic. And Snoopy with the triple kill, only at 5,800. I shouldn't say
To be fair, though, Bellona's up there as well. That just goes to show how much solo lane was fighting by themselves in the lane.
God, Bickham taking the lion's share of his health there off a beautiful CC combination into massive poke. Snoopy trying to chase this one down. Won't have any assistance here, and it looks like he'll choose to let this go. Or no, he's gonna keep
just waiting for the minion wave. He understands the communication from his teammates that are in the middle lane. He understands that there's not going to be too much of a rotation behind him. The only rotation that can come will be in front of him, and he'll be able to see it. But TSM positioning themselves to the direct way Cog has to this tower. Snoopy's 100% safe due to the positioning of TSM.
Well, with that, Boosh teleports in with his portal, finds another big win there with the tier 2, another 1,500 gold. It's going to put them up over 10,000 now.
10,000.
So where did that 10,000 come from? It was a 3K jump. Jeez.
10,000 gold lead means quite a lot. Snoopy just waiting on the front steps of this tier tower here in the middle lane. 4 members of Cognitive Gaming showing up, showing face Meerkat by himself on the right-hand side. Hasn't shown up too much for him right now. Already low, having to use Eagle's Rally defensively, but the rotation from Team SoloMid. 2 globals used, 2 members have shown up. Janus and Snoopy are here. Snoopy picks up the middle laner. Ionic in a little bit of trouble being chased, walls himself off, but Bickham's feather step sends him on the dangerous side of things, and Boosh gets credit for the kill with an unstable vortex.
I mean, the only thing you can really say there is somehow TSM didn't find all 5 kills, right? A small testament to Cog's ability to defend here, but I think that ability is about to run out. Famous Hate not having nearly enough damage to warrant the Xbalanque here. Meerkat not having his ultimate and then just rushing them down. First Phoenix is going to fall cleanly. Tier 2 still available in mid.
Meerkat doing what he's supposed to be in the front line, but he's on level 16. That's going to be a problem going up against Team SoloMid, whose lowest level is the level 14 Ionic, but I'm more looking at the 17 and 19 for the mid lane Hunter, respectively. That's the scary part. That's what Meerkat needs to be going up against, but to no fault of his own, he's just not there yet.
So Gold Fury's coming up in 22. I think their best course of action at this point, take the mid-tier 2, rush over to Gold Fury, take another 3,000, and then back and spend it. Let's take a look right now at gold in hand.
And there it is right there. You see clearly Team SoloMid on top altogether. But and this isn't the comparison that we're trying to bring up. It's just how big the numbers are on the side of TSM.
Real quick. We said the lead was 10,000 gold, right? Now it's 14 in hand right now.
5,
it looks like
10.
It's 12,000, 12,500 about. And they're going to add another 1,500. Their 14,000 gold is about to be spent. 14,000 gold is currently in their pockets. I don't think we've ever seen that before.
These are all full items or just about coming out for TSM. Don't watch the bottom side of your screen right now.
Just saw Rage. Most of a Witchblade.
Witchblade. We'll see items just finished and picked up just appear on the bottom side.
We got Gars and Boosh going back here. So Shifters.
Oh, that Sobek is scary.
There's the Rod. Warrior's Bane coming out. What else do we have from Janus? And it's going to be a Magic Focus.
Sobek has his Soul Reaver online.
If you thought he was hitting hard before, take 15% of your health on top of it.
Soul Reaver for Sobek. Just so scary. This is a very, very scary situation for Cognitive Gaming to be in. Janus, full stacks of that Doom Orb, really dishing out the damage. Sobek, just as tanky as he is offensive. And Apollo, we see with the classic build.
At this point, Ionic could DC, and Divios could play solo and support, and they would still have the advantage. That's how far ahead Divios is right now. He's got 3 levels on Meerkat, and he's got 9 levels on Homie FA. 9!
I would like to believe that Snoopy would stop attacking. Fire Giant start up by Team SoloMid. This one's going to be all but free, folks. It's about...
Before the lava.
It's about done.
Before the lava.
I was going to say, Cognitive wasn't going to be able to win that fight, but if they wanted to venture for the steal, absolutely not even thinking about it, just playing pure defense, trying to push up the waves.
Ionic doesn't DC, it's Gars that DCs. Will they take the 4v5? Will they pause? They paused.
Of course.
A very strange strategy coming out from what we've seen in this game. Let's see if it works out for him.
Well, again, I really want to... We'll take this pause to really talk about sportsmanship doesn't mean putting yourself at a disadvantage.
Oh, absolutely.
I know for a fact there's certain people at home that might be like, oh, they lost, Homie Effie lost some time. That doesn't mean Team SoloMid has to do the same. Still a very sportsmanlike game. Hold the phone. Pause is done. Game is going. Homie Effie, 40%. Homie Effie, 0. He's down. Thor's in the air. Where's he going to land? Front, back, left, or right?
Back.
He's going to land in the back.
Got him. Bickham takes it cleanly to the face there. They're going to find Meerkat in the front line as well. All 5 members of TSM still standing strong here, waiting for the wave. Nah, forget the wave.
Nope.
Snoopy activates the Mesmerize for the physical damage reduction and is going to burn down the second Phoenix here. They still have one more, or they can move in. It is a huge power play, 5-2.
Herwin, Famous Hate, the only ones alive. Homie Effie just moments away from being a part of this defensive set. Team SoloMid take out the left-hand Phoenix, no problem, with a lot of help from their Bellona. 3 Phoenixes are down, and TSM is looking to the right-hand side. They're going to go ahead and push Ionic a little low.
What they're doing here is they're actually pushing the wave to make sure the fire minions can join them on their advance while taking care of the Phoenix, which is about to spawn. This is going to cover multiple options and make sure they have the best available offense going into where they're going to end the game. With fire minions coming in, I'm expecting TSM to burst this one down.
Phoenix is already down. It lasted for about half a second. Team SoloMid not really doing anything, not waiting for a pick, not waiting for a fight. Team SoloMid looking at the Titan. They're going to go ahead and just try to be aggressive. Order Titan down to 80%, but there's still a fight to be had.
Oh, they reset it again. Back up to 95. Gotta watch those resets. They're waiting for the fire minions here. They're going to have another wave coming in just a second in the mid lane. And the Fire Giant has actually healed all of them back up to full.
It was a great defensive composition with the Geb and the Eagles rally that Cognitive has at their disposal. It's up to Team SoloMid to win this fight. They've won a lot of them thus far. Will they win the final fight? Portal is down into the Shards of Ice. Not enough to deal damage against the opponent, but they're looking at the Titan. Titan is down to 28. Titan is down to 15%. Titan is down to 0. One game is in the books, and this one goes the way of Team SoloMid.
You know, I think the end there really spelt out the story just by watching Meerkat. Because he goes in, he hits the disarm, and then uses Eagle's Rally to get back to the fountain to heal.
Sure.
Now, whenever you have a jump, using it as a defensive measure is a good idea, but when it's Eagle's Rally that's giving you defense and offense, it's always something you want to use as an offensive measure.
Right.
Meerkat didn't have that option. TSM had forced them back so hard by taking literally every objective on the map that their lead was massive to the point where they didn't have to worry about much at all. They still played it safely, let the Fire Giant heal them, and they took the win cleanly.
Yeah, that's just intelligence, not over-aggression. But we want to remind you, the beginning of this game was very different. Cognitive Gaming took the first blood of this first game, and it went the way of Bickham, the jungler on Awilix, which was exactly one of the keys we had pointed out for Cog to win.
And this was great because Meerkat should have been the first blood, but he played such a great offense, or rather defense, against Gars, not only pushing him to just away from stopping that AoE damage onto Bickham, but disarming him, make sure that he wasn't the first blood himself. And while Meerkat did fall, Herwin's rotation was enough to help Bickham find the second kill of the game as well.
It was a great fight for Cognitive. Unfortunately, the rest of the game would not go that way. Team SoloMid would go ahead and control the majority of the game and the majority of the map for that matter. Only 33%. A third of the map controlled by Cognitive Gaming.
You know, for me, I think a lot of it started with that small win that you see on the very top there at the attack speed camp, the one that they stole away off of Homie Effie's DC. It was a great amount of jungle control. They took the advantage when they had it, and it really started to spiral them into a complete just powerhouse in the early game, taking the 2 early Gold Furies, putting them way ahead. I'm sorry, 8 Gold Furies and 4 Fire Giants?
Yes.
Is that accurate?
It was a lot of Gold Furies, that's for sure. You know, one of the key things that I noticed here was I was taking a look after Homie Effie DC'd. I was taking a look at the actual difference between Homie Effie and Ionic. It was a full level And
No, I don't think any of that was accurate.
it was a full level and about 400, 500 gold separating them. It wasn't this devastating, huge lead, but it was just the feeling that it was as devastating, which allowed Janus to just pressure Homiefi out of all of these engagements.
Right. It's not about what they gained while he was DC'd. It's what they gained on his walk back. It's by being able to move your characters up little by little and control the space in front of them. They did it perfectly, and a lot of that had to do with the Janus. Boosh, player of the game.
Yeah, incredible stuff coming out from Boosh, who it's been a while, I feel like, since we've seen him on a traditional mage. 8-1-7 on Janus. For a long time, Boosh this season has been playing anything but mages.
Yeah, a lot on her Neath. You know, he started out the hunter in the mid with the Uller, right? I mean, he's been doing that for a while, so it really fit that his meta functions so well in the current state of the game. And I mean, just look at his control. This is the character I like watching him play the most because he's just such a slippery guy. I mean, back when we saw him play Raw almost every game, it was all about his movement, utilizing the speed of light passive and the healing and the ranged attacks. Same thing for Janus, can portal himself around and using Threshold, still the most underrated ability in the game. People are starting to get it now. Like, I can't walk over that. I'll die if I walk on that.
Yeah.
It's like an 80% slow.
Yeah, it's a huge slow, and it also amplifies the damage coming out from the hands of Janus. So, again, very, very cool to see a traditional mage coming out from Janus, normally going a different route.
Wait.
And this